number 2. So a few weeks ago, when I was out with my good friend Mr. Beat, we stumbled across this climate change protest downtown, and one of the guys was marching around with this flag here, which I thought was quite well designed, but also kind of ominous. It has like a big X in a circle, sort of looked like some sort of South African militia group or something. Now, I will confess, I'm not super plugged into the whole climate change activism scene, but I am vaguely aware that there is a thing called Extinction Rebellion that is relevant in some way. And since the word extinction involves the letter X, and so does this flag, I thought, maybe, just maybe, aha, I knew it. So you can see that apparently the Extinction Rebellion people do not have just one flag, but rather a multicolored melange of many, but it always uses the same X in a circle symbol. And according to this article in Fast Company magazine, I apparently had the correct initial reaction to it, since apparently it's supposed to be unsettling and visually unappealing. The symbol was designed by a mysterious Banksy-esque British artist who goes by the handle Goldfrog ESP. See, the circle is supposed to represent the planet Earth, and the X is actually supposed to be an hourglass, symbolizing how time is running out. Mr. Frog's symbol had apparently already started to gain some mainstream cultural currency in Britain in the 2010s. So when the Extinction Rebellion people eventually came along, who are also British, it was a natural symbol for them to glom onto. A lot of people have made the analogy to the peace symbol, which was also designed by a single British guy before being embraced all over the world. But beyond the fact that they always use the frog symbol, there doesn't seem to be any sort of mainstream design for Extinction Rebellion flags. This is why they come in so many different colors. This is supposed to make the whole movement seem more organic and uncoordinated, which is of course the aesthetic that all activists want for everything these days. I mean, we're not the Des Moines City Council here. All right, next up. After I went on a tour of the Iowa State Capitol, I noticed that they had a little memorial to the Second World War set up in the park behind it. The centerpiece was this big metal torch thing, and around the torch they had 4 flags: the US flag, the Iowa flag, and these 2. Now this one I thought would be easy enough to figure out. I could just draw it and do a reverse Google image search, but that didn't quite work. So I tried drawing it better, and then... What? Seriously? What's the friggin' point of Google image search then? Wait a sec, what about this one here? Computer, enhance. This kinda looks like it, just the wrong angle. Service flag is what the hated Wikipedia calls it. Okay, so the American Legion says, it's an American tradition to display a blue star service banner in the window of a home when a loved one is proudly serving in the US Armed Forces. And apparently this has been a thing since World War I. Well, I guess it just shows what an out-of-touch coastal elite I am, that I was so ignorant of this apparently well-entrenched military tradition. Also, foreign. Although in my defense, it looks like the Blue Star service flags are always flown vertically, so the one I saw was kind of a deviation from the tradition. I also see that the number of stars it has is a reflection of the number of military people in that family. Okay, now how about the other one? Okay, so we have a helmet on a gun in the ground, which is what they call a field cross. It's a very famous symbol of military deaths. That much I knew. And there's a gold star here, and it says, "Lest they be forgotten." So this is clearly a memorial flag for fallen soldiers of some sort. And I know that in the US, when you lose a soldier in your family, the expression is that you become a gold star family. So maybe... no. So I see that while a gold star family flag does exist, it is just the Blue Star service flag, but with a gold star instead. Share if you know what this flag stands for, says this meme. Well, I'm glad that I do now. Military families are making a huge sacrifice, and the least we can do is be vaguely familiar with their traditions. All right, so let's just try being more literal now. Lest they be forgotten flag. Here we go. So from searching a bit, I learned that this is a special memorial flag that has only existed since the 2003 invasion of Iraq, which would explain why it has a modern-looking gun on it. It's sort of like the Gold Star family flag, but it is supposed to represent a community that has lost a soldier. It was created in 2004 by an outfit called the Lest They Be Forgotten Foundation, which was started by a Gold Star father named Greg Garvey.
Off to my left here is a flag for the fallen that I designed, originally calling it Hobie's flag, which was Justin's nickname. The white background symbolizes the purity of their hearts and spirits. The black field cross memorial signifies the solemnness of their dedication and devotion. The red lettering represents their valor and the blood they shed. The gold star is for their Gold Star families. The gold border embodies the enduring love and memories that only families and friends can share.
His stated goal was to erect a memorial, including his flag, in every city of the US that had lost a soldier to the post-9/11 wars. As he put it, "I'm determined that the flag will become as recognizable to this generation as the POW MIA flag was to my generation." But from what I could research, the Lest They Be Forgotten Foundation wasn't actually around for very long. Some might say this was because their dream of erecting a memorial in every single American city that had lost a soldier was perhaps a little too ambitious. That's not really how America traditionally commemorates its war dead, which is usually done at the state or national level. And indeed, it seems like the people that were originally involved in the Lest They Be Forgotten Foundation have since moved on to other forms of military activism. Mr. Garvey himself passed away in 2018 after being out of the public eye for quite some time. His LTBF flag does seem to have persevered, however. I don't know if it has quite reached the status of the POW flag yet, but it does seem to be flown at memorials all around the US. Even ones that don't really have much to do with the flag's original purpose, like the World War II Memorial in Iowa. If you're an American, let me know in the comments if you've ever seen this flag anywhere. I'm very curious just how mainstream it is or isn't. Alright, so this video has sort of taken a heavy turn. Let us lighten things up by looking at this final mysterious flag, which I did not encounter in Iowa, but did find somewhere that's nearly as white. Pinterest. So because Pinterest knows that I'm interested in flags, my feed is often very full of weird and obscure flags from all over the place. And lately I've been noticing a lot of flags that look like this popping up. Sort of weird British flags that look like they're felt collages or something. Luckily, Pinterest makes it very easy to find information about mysterious images, since it has some sort of magic algorithm that automatically finds similar images to anything you click on. In fact, in retrospect, the next time I come across a mysterious flag, I should probably just upload it to Pinterest and save myself a lot of time. But anyway, Pinterest informs me that these things are known as Fanti Asafo flags. And what do these words mean? Well, the Fanti are a people that live in the southern coast of Ghana, and an Asafo is a sort of sub-tribal community group that their society is organized into. See, because the Fanti are located on the coast, back in the day, they had a lot of initial contact with European traders, particularly the British, who would eventually go on to conquer the Fanti Confederation, and indeed all of Ghana. But in the early days, the Fanti thought that the British were really cool and tried to emulate a lot of their traditions. In particular, the Fanti saw how the British liked to make flags for every random thing in their empire, and so the Fanti decided to make flags for every random thing in their empire too. And since the Asafo was the dominant social unit in Fanti culture, you better believe that they got flags. So these flags are obviously done in a very traditional African style, with a lot of unique Fanti symbolism and all the rest. But what is most charming and distinctive about them is, of course, the fact that they all have Union Jacks in the top corner. Since the Fanti learned about flags from the British, and since the British always put a Union Jack in the top corner of their flags, the Fanti just assumed that Union Jacks were a standard part of all flag design. You look at some of their designs and it's pretty clear they didn't even know what a Union Jack was, other than it was some sort of weird cross thing. Anyway, the Asafo groups still exist to this day, and they are still making flags. But since now everyone knows exactly what a Union Jack is, they often now put the Ghana flag in that spot. Now you might be thinking that these Fanti flags look very charming. Perhaps you want to get one for yourself? Well, you are out of luck, because for some reason, collecting Fanti flags has become a weird hobby of the super rich who just cannot get enough of them. Indeed, if you Google for a Fanti flag these days, you will probably just wind up on some auction site. A modern Fanti flag will often sell for about 3,000 bucks, while a good antique one can easily go for over 10 grand. And this is despite the fact that they're not even that rare. Demand for these things among the 1% has totally warped the market, but I guess that's probably good for the Fanti. So anyway, hope you enjoyed my unraveling of these little flag mysteries. Let me know in the comments if you recognized most or even all of these flags, and you can humiliate